Welcome back. So now we want to design or code television class. Okay, so far we haven't even typed anything here, right? We are just designing something to be able to um, understand how to use objects, all right? Design of a television class. An object from the television class is an instance of this class. Okay? When an object is created, the system sets aside a particular chunk of memory for storing the attribute values that represent the state of the new instance. Okay? So when an object is created, we have to set aside certain amount of memory for storing all the information, attributes values that represent state of the new instance. Some attributes do not change. Say when you are creating a television, its brand is not going to change, its model is not going to change, while some other attributes are changeable. For example, volume, channel of your television that you create will change. Okay, so the desired behaviors of a television object may include volume up, volume down, mute, channel up, channel down, set channel to a number. You understand? If I'm on channel 2 and I want to go to channel 100, I don't go channel up, 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 up several times. I want to be able to set my channel to 100. Okay, so on. So here is a design, a starting design for my television. Anytime I create a television object, it I should it should have some memory set aside for all of this information. Brand, model, whether the power is on or off, volume, whether my television is muted or not, channel, previous channel. Okay, so notice some of these things. Let's think about them. Brand is going to be a string, right? Model, that is going to be a string. Power on or off, that is going to be boolean. Volume is going to be a number. Okay, an integer possibly. Muted, on or off, volume, uh, that's a boolean. Channel, number, so that's an integer. Previous channel, that's also an integer. Okay, so now you have some feel for, so these are instance variables. So we have a class, so this is called class drawing. Name of the class is on the top, it is capitalized. Okay, these are instance variables, and here are the methods. Methods are functions. Instance variables are values. So here is information, and here are the methods, the functions. For any television, you want to be able to toggle power. What does that say? If your power is on, it will become off. If it's off, it will become on. You want to be, say, pressing volume up, that is increase the volume, or decrease the volume. Toggle mute, that is if your mute button is, if you are muted, it will unmute it. If it is unmuted, it will mute it. Channel up, channel down. Set channel to a certain number, jump to the previous channel. Okay, so these are the methods you want. Note, one specific feature about toggle mute, it does not simply set volume to 0. The mute button, when pressed twice, should return volume to what it was before TV got muted. That is, the attribute muted is set to either true or false, while toggle mute method reverses the setting of the mute attribute. it does not change the volume to 0. It only keeps track of the muted, whether it's on or off. Okay. Now we will come back to this example later. We want to be able to write a code for it, and we will write a code for it. And the purpose of this course, one of the purposes, is to be able to encode some of this information, right? Now, here is another example. Design of a student registration system. Television class was self-contained. Okay. Typically, though, we have interactions between various classes. For example, here are classes where various objects are expected to interact. Student, department, course, professor, schedule, transcript, major. There are relationships between these objects. For example, a course has a teacher, while a schedule has courses. In other words, teacher object will be a variable for a course. Schedule courses are variables in schedule, and so on and so forth. Okay, this will get clearer to you once we start coding. Here is a schedule diagram for invocation of Bob to enroll in class CS102. Bob.enroll CS102 in turn triggers Bob schedule add course CS102. So here is a professor whose name is Alice. She has invoked the method Bob.enroll CS102. Now, before he is able to enroll, he has to go to his schedule object, Bob schedule.add course CS102. That takes some time and then adds it. Okay. Once you receive that information, after that, notice how this rectangle is longer than this, because you have to first get done with the addition of the course and then return a true value to the professor. Okay. But in reality, the picture might be more complicated. Professor has asked Bob to enroll. Bob is checking with the course object CS102 whether requesting a seat for Bob. There is a seat and Bob has been reserved a seat, so it gave you a true value. Then you go to the schedule class. Bob schedule is an object there. Bob schedule dot add course CS102, which returns fine, and then you are able to return true value. On the other hand, your diagram may be even more complicated, the most realistic, right? If you want to register for any course, there are several steps. The professor is saying Bob dot enroll CS102. Bob checks with the course object CS102. CS102 get num hours. So you want to know how many hours it is, the course is for. You get a value back. So you have a return value of 4 hours. Okay. The next part of information you want is number of hours from the schedule. Bob.get number of hours. So 12. Okay. So there is room for Bob. You request a seat. The course itself is checking with itself. Is it full? False means it is not full. So that's good. All right. In return, before you finish giving a seat back, the course object is asking Bob. Bob has taken CS101, the prerequisite. That gives you a return of true. Aha. Now the course is saying add Bob. Okay, CS102 dot add Bob, which worked. Okay. So there is no value return, not even a true value. It just implemented adding of Bob, and then course CS102 is able to send a value true. So this true is for request seat. So that rectangle. So request seat Bob, CS102 request seat Bob returned a true value, and then it went to add course for the schedule, and that gave nothing in return, but it simply enacted this add. Finally, Bob is able to say to the teacher back, the professor back, a true value. Okay, so this is one another more realistic set of steps. Okay, class hierarchies. Let's come to this part in our next video.